Water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, I didn't know anything about the Last Airbender. Then, everything changed when my best friend said, let's do a podcast. We could call it Avatar State Radio. 6,953 days had passed before I discovered Avatar. Not the Blue Cats, but a 19-year-old cartoon. Like Aang, I have a lot to learn, but I believe I'll love Avatar The Last Airbender. Welcome to this week's edition of Avatar State Radio. I am the last Podbender, Kev, and I am now 18 episodes deep into Atla. And oh my God, the fact that I didn't watch this show for almost 20 years is nuts. I'm not a master yet, but our co-host might be.
Hello, I am Mike, the Pavatar.
This episode, I had some feelings during this episode. Not like emotional, like crying feelings like I do when I watch Kermit give an emotional speech about friendship in the Muppet movie. But similar feelings I had about Sokka like 18 episodes ago.
You're talking about my namesake for this episode, Master Poopface or Head. I don't remember what it was. Something.
Poophead. It was Master. Did I write that down? I did. Shockingly, I didn't write that. Oh no, I did. Master Poophead. I did.
All right, and that's what I've labeled myself in the. I am Master Poophead.
This might have the most notes I've ever taken. I like so many notes here that I'm just scrolling through, and I don't know why, because it's not like this episode is particularly meaty. I guess it is meaty. There is actually a lot going on in this.
Yeah, there's
episode.
A decent amount for like a 22-minute cartoon. You know, because we've got an A story, which kind of digresses into a B story with Sokka, and then we've got the stuff that's happening with Zuko.
Yeah, I mean there is an A B story. There's probably a C D story as well.
I guess you got a good point.
There is a lot going on in this episode.
We've got returning characters. We've got new characters.
Yeah. We're finally, and it seems right. It seems like for the final 3 episodes of this of book 1, Water. It seems right that we're finally at the North Pole.
And the Northern Water Tribe is where we've arrived, and we're going to see some fireworks, some waterworks. I don't know. Yeah,
and this episode, I mean, there is obviously some conflict and some explosions and stuff, but nothing to do with the gang, nothing to do with the Northern Water Tribe. This episode, it starts off with the gang bickering, and we learn that they've been like traveling 2 days straight. So it goes to show you that they're in between episodes and potentially even in between scenes. Time does continue to move for these characters. I wonder if there would be a certain reviewer out there that would ask about those bathroom breaks during those 2 days. That is, folks, go read. Was that for the Bindings of Fate?
Yeah, I think it was from Bindings.
Go read the Amazon reviews for the Bindings of Fate by Michael D'Angelo, and that will make sense to you.
I can't believe that the author never wrote about this person going to the bathroom. It's completely unreasonable. I need to know: do they sit or stand when they go number 1?
I'm trying to think, because I try to read like a book a month, which I failed this year so far. But I'm trying to think about all the books I've read over the last like 2 years, excluding yours, because clearly they don't in at least the first 3. But like, I don't think it ever comes up. Like, and if it does,
it's been, I mean, at this point, it's been 13 years at least since Bindings has come out, and I've had that review. So I don't even know, like, was it really related to the bathroom, or was it like, hey, this person's covered in blood and they never cleaned themselves up? I don't want to go down this rabbit hole right now, Kev. My hand is hovering above the mouse to go and look at this review.
All right, let's move on then. Appa's flowing low. He's tired. He crash lands because there is an attack on the gang.
Seriously, like these people were doing some meanness to my sky bison.
But it makes sense because as we learn later in the episode that the we learn from two angles that the northern tribe, water tribe, is still around and still so massive and populated because they are well equipped. They are
Right.
well off.
They are kicking. You
Yeah.
you see the tiny little water tribe down south with its 20 kids and its like no walls and everything. And
Yeah.
then you get your foot in the door of not even the doorstep, the watery doorstep of the Northern Water Tribe, and you see this massive kingdom that they have created for themselves.
And it has a lot of vibes from that Boomy episode where we were kind of really for the first time introduced to an Earth Kingdom city or town or whatever, and and they're using their bending to manipulate the structure of the city walls and of the water levels
Yeah, they
to
basically have like a
navigate.
Panama Canal inspired like set of sluices and stuff like that. Like the waterways are inspired by Venice. Like it's very cool the way that they have designed this. Number one, as creators of the show, and that the characters and the world itself has used their powers to develop this part of the life that they live.
Yeah, it really is. It is, I think, the first time since that Boomy episode that like we've really seen bending powers used in like just this like we use them in everyday life, like just to like we don't we don't need oars to navigate. We just use our hands and use the force to
Right.
to push ourselves around. Um, and it was just it was very cool seeing that. And in the midst of seeing that, we see like just how massive this city is. How I mean, almost everyone's a bender. You see a lot of bending here. This is maybe one of the because I don't even think Boomy he didn't feel like a king, did he? Like, would they named him king?
Yeah, he was King Boomy, and
Was he?
I
Oh, he was
suppose
King Boomy.
I suppose the problem with Boomy was he certainly looked old and kind of like inept when we were first introduced to him, and it wasn't until he kind of like disrobes and you can see that he's all muscular and everything that he still got it.
Right.
But yeah, you don't get to like he doesn't throw it in his face that he's a king. He just dude looks like a mayor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like he's obviously in charge, but it did not feel like there was a royal aspect to it. This is one of the most royal places we've seen. And I don't, and again, even in Yui was her name Yui, the princess?
Yue.
Yui. I don't even know if they ever referred to her dad as king, but like they definitely refer to her as princess.
Right. And then Sokka ends up turning it around and saying, I'm kind of a prince back home.
Yeah, I have in my notes, quote unquote, Prince Sokka, quote unquote, flirting with the princess.
It's not completely out of left field for him to be saying that. And I know Katara kind of makes fun of him for it by saying, like, what are you the prince of? But like their dad's the chieftain. Like it's as close as it gets. They might not be legit royalty, but I mean, if Disney were to take over the Atla intellectual property, I would not put it past them to make Katara a Disney princess.
Probably before Yue, because I've only known her for an episode now.
Right.
Whereas Katara I've known forever.
Right. So we only know her for this episode. Sokka only knows her for like 2 minutes before he falls head over heels in love.
I mean, it's like not even 2 minutes. He blushes as soon as he sees her. Like he's like head over heels right away.
Right.
More so than even with that Kyoshi or Kishi or whatever.
Yeah, Suki from the Kyoshi Warriors.
Yeah, like even more so there. More so than Katara was with that bad boy.
With Jet.
Yeah, with Jet. So yeah, I mean instantly is like in love with this girl. And the first taste you really get of what I probably dislike most about this episode is when the king introduces his daughter. Here is my daughter. and I'm paraphrasing here, who is now 16 and of marrying age.
Right, yeah. Immediately upon introduction, like, she's turned 16 and she's ready to get out of my hair.
Like, what? Like, and I get it. Like, cultures are different, and like 16, like, is a marrying, especially like back in the day, like he married young. But like, oh my God, my dude, like, she's a person. A person.
The
First
funny
and
thing
foremost.
too is, like, back in like medieval times and everything, when you're getting married, you're not getting married for love, and that's not uncommon, but you are getting married strategically, mostly to establish alliances, to make sure that one person is not going to stab the other person in the back. Whereas in their culture here, it's and I'm sure that, like, again, we talked about this last episode, like, there could be a lot more going on behind the scenes, but this is a 22-minute episode. Could they have made a Game of Thrones like world set in the Northern Water Tribe? Maybe they could have. But from what we see, like, he's just like, she's going to get married to someone who already lives here. Like, there's no diplomatic, like, strength in doing it one way or the other. It's just their way of showing this is the culture. Our culture is weird.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that's, I think, exactly, it's proved later in the episode that's exactly what it is, and I won't say why right now because there's so much to get to, and that's kind of a key part of it. But like, yeah, I mean, they literally are just like arranging marriages within their own tribe, and like, it doesn't make sense at all. Like, why do you need to arrange? Like, what are you getting out of it? Like, what is the northern tribes boy that's marrying your daughter? What's that family giving you that you don't already have?
Right, you're the king. What are they doing? What and obviously we don't see. I mean, the king doesn't say she's ready to be married. To then say, and she's already engaged. We learn that later as the episode goes.
Yes.
But yeah, we don't meet the alleged suitor.
Yeah. And we during this, like, introduction of the daughter and also the flirting of, quote unquote, flirting of Sokka, who wants to do activities with, which, like, is funny on so many levels. Like, it's just like, oh, what an adorable little boy trying to flirt and ask this girl on a date, and it's funny. But then we're also introduced to Master Pakku. Am I getting that right?
Pakku, aka Poophead.
Yes, Poophead. We're introduced to him and the king, who, like, and everyone's excited. You know, there is also a big introduction to the Southern Water Tribe, Katara and Sokka, and like, there's a big round of applause for them. And then there's an even bigger round of applause for Aang, the Avatar. But the king then introduces Aang to oh my God, Pakka. Instantly Aang is like, yeah, you know what? Me and my friend, we're going to be so ready to train in like a day or two after we realize it's been a hard couple days. And Pakka's like, fuck you, we're training tomorrow at sunrise.
Well, I mean, and I get it. It's the Avatar. He needs to bend. But Pakka is kind of a hard ass. You know, he comes up and he seems very much like he's set in his ways. And no one's going to change the way that he lives his life or anything like that. And of course, the next day we learn
that, oh my God, and this is, I think I'm only angry because as we go further into the episode, we learn it's just not Pakka.
Right, yeah, their culture says
it's just the culture
women are
of the
not
Northern
supposed
tribes
to bend in that way.
Right. So like Master Pakka, I wish I spelled it right because I have it as Poku in my notes. So every time I look at it,
yeah, it's Pakku. Pakku.
I down below when I go 6 pages down, I have it spelled correctly. My closed caption was delayed, so I couldn't see it in time. Anyway, the next morning, you know, Aang shows up, Katara shows up, and he goes, whoa, You didn't say your friend was a girl.
It's
Ew.
so funny hearing it from like an old man, and it very much sounds like ew cooties.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, women in the northern tribe don't learn bending like this. They can't fight. They belong in the kitchen, aka the healing factory or whatever the hell.
Factory. Like I know you get upset about it. Because like as a modern society, we've stepped away from this. But I mean, like within the culture of this world and everything, it's not completely unreasonable or anything like that. And the funny thing is, like, you're walking into this now in 2024. We're going to go into a little bit of trivia mode here. Having, living in 2024 and being upset by this kind of thing, we were kind of back in 2007 whenever we originally watched this, however long ago. We were more understanding of this kind of discrepancy with the way that people were treated. The funny thing is, the people who used to watch this are upset when the live action show did away with a lot of the sexism, because it wasn't because the sexism is great, let's keep it. There was a learning element to it, because as we saw with Sokka and the Kyoshi Warriors episode, it was an opportunity for him to learn from something like that. And then what happens in this episode is an opportunity to learn and grow as well. And because you got rid of that in this world, you don't have that opportunity to grow.
And listen, I know I am judging it hard right now. And I think rightfully so. I 100% agree that I mean, it is a thing that still happens today. Just ask Harrison Butker from the Kansas City Chiefs, the kicker that made that commencement speech. He probably is a huge fan of Master
Well, you know
Pakku.
what? Like, I don't even the stuff that he said there. Whatever, you're talking to a Catholic college, that's fine. Whatever. That really is not affecting too many people because they get to decide what they want to do. Right. But he said things about people who need allies. And I feel like we're not spending enough time on those kind of messages, but I digress.
Yeah. But anyway, so Master Pakku, Pakku, I mean. Anyway, no, I that stuff happened. Like, that's a thing. That's the way the world worked less than 100 years ago. Less than 100 years ago is how this world worked, where women were delegated to certain areas of the house of the world. So I certainly think that, and again, it's probably easy to say as white men, but I think it is important to include that in certain storytelling, and not just, we're talking about women and them belonging in the kitchen, as Pakku said,
right,
more or less. But I think it goes across the board for like race issues and sexuality issues, like all that stuff. It's an important part of storytelling, because you're showing, usually people are learning from it. If it's coming from the right storyteller, at least you're showing that it's you're growing.
You shouldn't shy away from hard subjects, especially maybe that's why they didn't do it, because they didn't want to hit people over the head with it. And obviously this is a cartoon, you're supposed to be learning lessons, whereas in the live action, maybe they thought like, hey, our viewers don't really need to be taught this lesson.
Right. Maybe. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by what appears to be water falling from the sky in front of me, but to the left of me, there is not a drop in sight. I don't know what's going on outside. Anyway, Katara? No, okay, it's not her.
I thought you were being mad as she was being mad, because again, we get to see in this episode, Katara has quite a temper, and deservedly so, but she gets more animated than any of the other two people in the gang.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen them lose their temper now, I think at least once or twice. And I would say maybe before this episode, like they all kind of lost it equally. even though I'm sure you could prove to me that that's not the case. This episode in particular, she and not even at this moment, like this early on in the episode, but she loses it. Right, as you said, rightfully so. But Aang is like, we're still at the him Pakku saying that, oh, you can't be a waterbender, and Aang's willing to say, all right, I'll just go, I won't learn from this guy. And there is, I will say, Katara shows so much restraint for a majority of this episode, because she tells him like, no, like, listen, you need to learn it. Like, this is, you're the Avatar. You need to learn this, and you're not going to find anyone else to learn it from. Like, she puts her feelings as a woman to the side so that Aang can do what he needs to do to save the world. Which is, I guess, honestly what, like, you're looking for everyone to do. Like, hey, we might need to make tough decisions in order for, like, not go see our dad to go to help save the world.
Right.
And so, they part ways, and Katara meets, what is it? Yugurta?
Let's see. It is
Yugoda, for a healing lesson, which, a few episodes ago, we just learned that, like, this is a power that not many waterbenders have. And only some of the most powerful benders have it. So, like, it really, the contradiction of this society where you're going to teach the boys how to fight and the girls how to heal, when ultimately what we've learned is that the healers are more powerful than the fighters.
Right. Yeah. And not only that, but, like, doesn't it serve, like, your best interest to have everyone trained in everything so that you can see, number one, where they excel, and number two, if all your healers are freaking hurt, you can heal them still.
Right. And, like, I don't know if healing is, I mean, based off this episode, I guess healing is something that can be taught and learned. That's not the impression I got from Zhang that in that other episode. It felt like it was more of a, like, yeah, some of you got it, some of you don't type of deal.
Right. And I mean, I kind of understand that, because you figure Zhang being a firebender might not be as hip to it as a waterbender who's been around it.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like, to your point, like, and just coming from the opposite side of it, like, why wouldn't you want your healers to know how to fight? Because if they are supposed to be the most powerful waterbenders because they can also heal, wouldn't you want that, like, on the field with you? And B, like, I don't know, like, what happens if every fighter gets injured and it takes time to heal these people up? You need fighters to defend the it's just
right. This is why you make sure your cleric has high constitution, in case they need to heal someone later on. They need to be able to fight.
It is a wild, like, hypocritical way of thinking for this culture, because to me, it doesn't make sense that you would have, again, arguably the most powerful benders not learning how to fight with their power.
Right.
Anyway, but during that time, we also learned that Gran Gran is not from the Southern tribe, but of the Northern tribe.
Right. Yeah, we learned various things about her necklace throughout the episode. And a good thing that they got the necklace back, because a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been divulged without people seeing that.
Yes, and as soon as they mention, like, oh, Katara, you're engaged, I'm like, oh, she's not of marrying age, you peasant.
Yeah, how do you guys not know that she's not of marrying age?
She's only 14. Gran Gran 2. So, which is funny, because technically a powerful bender did give it to her. Just saying, Team Katang. But yeah, we discover, that it's Gran Gran's necklace. Well, I guess we already knew that, but we discover that she's from the Northern Tribe, and that it was an engagement necklace given to her by a mysterious stranger to be named later.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, we don't know yet, but the usual hint is if they're not going to divulge that information, you're going to know about it pretty quickly.
and I kind of almost immediately knew who it was.
Right, because again, this is a show for children. There's supposed to be a learning element to it. That's a good way to connect to people in some interesting ways.
Yeah. And then let's see. Oh, so we also get another meeting of the prince and the princess.
While he's running down the canal saying, "Do you still want to do an activity? We can go to a place at a time."
And she agrees. She blushes. So this is now we first see her blush when like he catches up with her because she's on one of those North Pole Venice boats, and so she blushes when they're talking. They agree to activities, and they're going to meet at night on the bridge. And we get I guess there's stuff that happens after that before we get to the scene. I don't have anything in my notes, so I guess it wasn't important, because my next note after activity night is that they oh no, I see what my notes are here. Anyway, activity night happens, but almost immediately Yue says she's made a mistake and runs off.
Right, she pulls away. Sokka's confused.
Which at this point, and again, again, a show for children, but at this point, as an adult, I know it's because she's engaged. Like,
right, because at this point, we've already seen the necklace, right?
She shows it off in the next scene they have together. But
I mean, we've seen Katara's necklace.
We've seen Katara's necklace, yes.
Right, which is the hint that we need. Again, there's a lot in this episode. There's a veritable spider web of things that have been put together that all connect in some interesting ways. So the hint is already there for viewers to know, hey, the thing that they're talking about for Katara is very likely the thing that they're talking about for Yue.
Right. And then we have, the gang, sitting together at night, I guess getting ready for bed. And, Sokka's upset because, what happened with Yue. But he does suggest that, like, hey, Aang, why don't you just teach Katara what Pakku's teaching you? Just teach her at night.
Which is something that, like, I had forgotten about in the episode, and that was my suggestion. Why didn't they just do this? Like, he's going to be the Avatar. He can teach anybody who, whatever he wants.
Right. And Katara's like, yeah, that's a great idea. Everybody wins. And Sokka's like, wait, I'm still heartbroken.
Right.
What about me?
I didn't win.
But then, I mean, they're not getting far into their lesson at all when Master Poophead is spying on them and sees Aang teaching Katara. And like, now I will say, because regardless of this being the wrong culture, and I shouldn't say wrong culture, but this aspect of their culture being wrong, in my opinion, I do understand Pakku's reaction, because you are insulting his culture.
The line that he gives is my favorite line ever, and I'm going to use it anytime I'm even minorly upset about something, and it is, "You have disrespected me, my teachings, and my entire culture."
Yes.
How that has not become a meme, like, used more often, I have no idea.
That and it is a good line. It's a powerful line. It is a line that I think coming from somebody else in another scenario makes so much sense. It is a line that I think we should all as human beings be respecting. But to have it come from him because he doesn't want to teach a girl is and again, modern times and whatnot, and listen, like, I kind of get it. Like, I don't have to agree with that culture, but that's the culture that the whole Northern tribe has grown up on for probably, I mean, Gran Gran is probably what, 80 to 90 years old.
Yeah, she got to be old at this point.
So like it's a culture that's been around for probably at least 100 years. So like even when Aang was around pre being frozen, like the northern tribe probably practiced that culture. And so it's while I don't agree with that culture, he's not wrong. He's not wrong for saying that.
Within the world that he lives in, it's kind of expected.
Right, like that would be like us going to a some sort of tribe that like lives in the jungle and like saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing XYZ because that's not how we do it." Like, who the fuck am I? Some white man from America?
You know,
which is like 90% of the issue anyway.
There's tons of that goes on these days, and people act like surprised that they're not respectful. Like I all I did was disrespect your culture. Why are you arresting me?
Right. And so I can sit here because it's a cartoon and I can complain all day long about how Pakku is treating the women of his tribe and Katara. But at the end of the day, it is that it's not, I mean, it is Pakku's culture, but it's not like he invented that culture. That's the culture that's just been in that tribe for centuries.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't have any specific misgivings. I mean, and we can see that based on stuff that we see as this episode progresses.
Right.
Literally.
Yes. Because, you know, and I know there's a whole lot more that's happening outside of the Northern Water Tribe temple here that we haven't even gotten to yet. Because the nice thing about this episode, because the AB story doesn't really intermingle with like the CD story, we can kind of tell them separately.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like two mini episodes within a bigger episode.
Yes. And so we get another scene where you know, they all meet and Master Pakku is sitting with like the council, and the king is like, "Well, Katara, maybe if you apologize for your indiscretions."
Right.
Like,
Chief Arnook is basically like, "Yo, you guys were the ones who screwed up. Make an apology." And again, we see at this point, I mean, she's very set in her ways, more so than this tribe is in theirs, really. And refuses to apologize, and then moments later, you know, becomes the aggressor in a battle between her and Master Pakku.
Well, and what happens right before, because she's looking for a fight, right? Like, she's like, "I'll meet you outside. Catch me outside, Ken." And then like when he goes outside, like, I guess she says something to him, and he goes, "Go back to the healing hut with the other women," which is the kitchen, right? Like, that's been my analog the whole time,
right?
And so she does this little water whip at the old fool,
right? Hits him in the old rat tail.
Yeah, and here's what's really awesome about this fight. There is, you know what? There's not much of a fight elsewhere in this episode in the other scenes that we have. This is really like the one true fight we have of the episode, and it is a really good fight that a master of waterbending is having with a 12-year-old girl who really just learned her abilities within the last several weeks. And she holds her own.
Right. Yeah. She's doing a remarkable job. We see some things during the fight that I don't believe that we've seen elsewhere. Like when she's like throwing the discs.
Yeah. That is such an awesome thing that we've never seen her do, or any waterbender do.
Right. And then during that moment, we get the Matrix moment where Pakku is like looking at his reflection in the disc that's passing him by, and it slows down and everything. Like he's clearly being careful about what he's doing.
Yeah.
She's maybe a little bit out for blood because that slow motion move is, if you don't get out of the way, you're probably going to be pretty hurt from that.
And you do see, like, in that reflection, not that he's worried, but I think surprised.
Right.
Is the, like, the feeling I got based off of his reaction in that reflection.
Yeah, otherwise you would have seen like a smarmy look, I feel
Yes,
like.
yes. And but like this kind of goes and shows like I think it's a common thing that is with all benders is like when you let your emotions and your rage kind of take over, because we've seen it with Aang, and that's when he goes avatar state usually is when his emotions, whether it's rage or something else, controls him, and he just loses it, and the avatars of the past kind of take over to help like keep some sort of control, but like Aang just goes crazy with that power. You see it with Katara here, like she is doing things we've never seen her do before, and maybe it's because she's never been around this much water too, like who knows.
Yeah, she definitely is. uh Number one, she's seen what other people have been doing since she's arrived here.
Sure.
She's, I'm sure, in similar ways where in the previous episode where we were talking about Sokka having like all the inspiration, I'm sure it helped to be around another inventor, another person who likes to experiment, for her to have like this new canvas to draw from. You all of a sudden develop new techniques on the fly a lot easier.
Yeah, and um, you know, she holds her own until the very end, literally until the end, and even when she's like done, because he has like the ice darts kind of like surround her, doesn't like, and he's not out, like he's not a monster, like he's not out to kill her or hurt her or injure her in any way. He literally just makes it so she's now immobilized.
Yeah.
And she still is fighting, like she's still saying, I'm not done yet. Like she has the willpower and the spirit that, going back to the previous episode where bending is all about spirit. She has the spirit of a fighter, she has the spirit of a bender, which is why she's so upset that like she won't be taught by
Right. And
arguably the
we
best
know
waterbender.
historically there's plenty of female benders because they're the avatar.
Right, exactly. But then it's immediately as he's walking away that he sees the necklace that fell off during this battle.
Right.
That he made for Gran Gran. That's right, folks. Master Poophead was engaged to Gran Gran, and she left because she did not agree with this idiot culture of the Northern Tribe, and did not want to be married based off of passing on sheep or something. She wanted to find love the traditional way, I guess.
Right. I do wonder if a situation had arose where she would have been able to be herself and the culture did not get in the way, if her and Pakku would have ended up together.
Well, and so this episode, it doesn't end on this note, but this episode with this story here, this AB story of training Aang and then Katara, I guess that's part of the A story. The B story really is Sokka and the princess.
Yeah.
But this A story ends ultimately with like him training Katara. She shows up and he like gives her a little bit of gruff at first, and you're
right.
like,
You briefly imagine like he didn't learn his lesson.
Right. But then it's all because you got here like a second too late because of the sunrise or whatever.
Right.
So and what's crazy is that like, okay, so like now the culture's different. like
right. All it took was that one little bit. Like it almost felt like Pakku was the one who was holding them all back.
It really did. And I know I earlier in this episode I said like it probably wasn't like he didn't invent this culture, but he clearly is letting her train because of it, she's Gran Gran's granddaughter.
Right. Now I will ask this. Do you think that any of it was because he realized how talented she was and what potential she had? Like if they didn't notice the necklace, would there have been a moment where like he cooled off later and realized that he was wrong?
I don't think so.
I do think that some of the episode is constrained by, again, the 22 minutes that we have. So they're not going to do a certain amount of richness that we might have otherwise. But I mean, the assumption here is that Pakku has a lot of influence. He's the one that's basically either going against their culture by saying, I'm going to do this, whether or not anybody approves, or has enough influence to change hearts and minds.
And that's, I feel like, so I don't think, regardless of how well Katara held herself in that battle, if there wasn't a connection to Gran Gran, I don't think he trains her,
because he doesn't get that learning lesson at that point.
Right. And I mean, why was he okay with the way culture was, 60 years ago or whatever, when he was first engaged with Gran Gran? Who knows? But I think maybe there's a combination of how powerful she is as a waterbender and being Gran Gran's granddaughter that makes him kind of see, the light of day, or, as far as we're concerned, see the light of day and want to change the culture. And I think that it's probably a combination of like, he's going against the culture, and that because if he's more of a monster if he was the one that influenced this culture.
Right.
To begin with. So in my head, I think he's going against culture, but he does, like you said, have enough influence. Hey, I mean, there's no other master waterbender, right? Like he is the master waterbender.
Yeah, he's got to be the one who's at the top of the ladder, who's taught everybody else. Right. You assume he's old, but he's also talented.
Yeah. And my guess is like, when it comes to teaching waterbending, like, yes, it's a cultural thing, but it just takes the guy in charge of bending to change it. So, I don't know how much influence he had to say to like the king, be like, you know what, this is, screw the culture, like this is what we're going with now. I think it was very easily, because realistically, outside of the whole bending thing, with this culture, the only other thing that's like a little weird is the arranged marriages when they're 16. But again, that doesn't necessarily seem sexist to me, whereas the bending thing and who you're going to teach, whether they're based on their gender, was literally being sexist.
Right.
So I think that, if anyone on the council had an issue with it, like, well, he would basically say, too bad, like whoever's in charge after me can go back then.
Right.
So, and then we should say that even though that's like the last thing that we have in the water tribe village, there is a part where Sokka goes after Yue, and he says like, "Oh, I understand. You don't.
I'm a hideous chud. You don't want to be with
me. You're a princess, and I'm just the poor farm boy, the poor stable boy. He's setting it up, dude. He's setting it up." And she goes, "No, you're wrong."
Right. I do like you. I just am not allowed to.
Right. Like she shows off. This is where we see her engaged necklace, and that she's got like to, be with these silly northern customs, that they live by, which, and again, we have so much more to say, but we also said before we hit record that, like, well, you said this, that it probably made sense for the last 3 episodes of book 1 here to be a 3-parter versus this one, and then the next 2 being a 2-parter. So obviously we're going to, I think, see more of this B story that we have with Sokka.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and I think we'll see, it will likely be resolved by the end of the season, because we're going on to the Book of Earth for season 2.
Right, which you would assume takes you away from this tribe. Right. We don't know necessarily if Yue, you would assume she doesn't really have any big bending prowess or anything like that to add to the team.
Right.
So there's got to be some resolution one way or the other. Does Sokka stay behind? Does Yue go with them? What exactly happens here?
Or is it like hey, like, we'll catch up after the war? Because realistically, we don't have, we have 2 more seasons until the war. So like, we have like, probably like we probably have like a fall and a winter before we get to summer.
And that's before Sozin's Comet. The war is technically ongoing, as we'll see later on in this episode.
True. But what we all know, like, is listen, if Aang's not trained by this time, the war is lost for all of us and won for the Fire Nation. Versus if Aang can get, control of his avatar powers, we have a good shot at winning the war and things going back and war being over. So anyway, I think that it very well could be like, she tells her dad, I don't want to marry this other dude. I just kind of want to be open. Like, I'm not ready. Like, I maybe want to explore things with this Southern farm boy.
Right. And maybe the culture shock resolution that's happened with Katara is what allows that to transpire.
Right. And to that point, with everything I said about that and how I feel, Pakku would have acted or why he's acting the way he is, like, we do have 2 more episodes to see resolutions from that too. Like, there might be more knowledge there that we gain.
Right.
Anyway, we are now officially heading towards our longest episode here.
Right. With very little tangents outside of this to go from.
Right. So, not that I will give it the time that it needs, but we have another set of stories that is like a CD story with Zhao and Zuko that's also happening in the background of all this. They don't intertwine to this main story, other than the fact that the end game for Zhao, he knows that, the Avatar is heading north to the Northern Water Tribe. That's, where
that's kind of like the final stitch of the episode is,
yes,
hey, we're taking our fleet in that direction. We know there's nowhere else that he's going to go. He's on top of the world.
Yes. I mean, as you said, that is literally the final scene is Zhao with his fleet. There's so many ships on their way going north to the Northern Water Tribe. So war is going to show up at the Northern Water Tribe's doorsteps for the first time, or maybe not for the first time, but for the first time, it could be a serious threat.
Right. And to Zhao's his thinking is without a huge thorn in his side, because earlier in the episode, right off the bat, he says, everybody's invited but Zuko.
Yeah. So like, it opens up with him and his commanders talking about, like, okay, well, we know where the Avatar is heading, but like, there's a reason the Northern Tribe is still there and is still so vibrant and big. It really leads to Zhao showing up to Zuko's ship, interrupting Iroh singing, that melodic little bastard, and saying that, like, hey, Iroh goes into
Zuko's chambers,
but like, there's an issue, and Zhao says, I'm taking your crew. I'm taking it.
And not only that, but learns something integral about a plot from a previous episode while he's there.
In which I thought he already knew. If you remember that Blue Spirit episode, I said, I think Zhao knows. He didn't know, but he does now, because those swords that the Blue Spirit use are hanging up, and Zhao figures it out.
Right. And Zuko tries very hard to kind of throw off the scent by saying, like, oh, they're just for decoration. But, like, it's already there. It's implanted in his mind.
And it all makes sense. Like, I mean, listen, Zhao could be wrong, right? But, like, at the end of the day, I don't think he cares. Like, okay, whatever. Like, even if Zuko
has been a thorn in his side at this point long enough. And we get to see some characters from a previous episode, recur. With the pirates from the episode with the waterbending scroll.
Yeah. So like, the next time we see Zhao, he hires the pirates to deal with Zuko. And this, like, again, this isn't much of a fight. It's just a cool scene that we see play out.
Right.
But the pirates do show up. So Iroh goes for a walk first, and he tries to convince Zuko to go, so that, like, hey, you should just clear your head. And, like, we should also mention that, like, when Zhao left with his crew, he said to Iroh, the offer still stands. Like, you're not banished. You're not a thorn in my side. You're a great general. You're invited to be a general by my side. And, Iroh, is I think a good person. So he stays with his nephew. For a while, because he goes for a walk leaving Zuko alone because he doesn't want to, deal with it. Like he just wants to be alone. The pirates show up with blasting jelly, which have we seen? It sounds familiar.
Yeah, we have seen blasting jelly before, because blasting jelly was what Jet and his crew were going
That's
to use on
right.
the dam.
That's right. That's not only they did use it, Mike.
Right.
They did use it. Anyway, so as the pirates are getting that ship set up, Zuko hears something, and he starts like to investigate the ship. Unfortunately, due to the caution he was taking, it is all too little too late, basically. Zuko hears him. He's on the move. The pirates light the fuse. He gets to like the upper deck. He notices the parrot, but it's far too late, and the ship is blown.
Yeah, and you hear him scream.
Yeah,
so like the assumption for viewers is, hey, we just watched Zuko die.
Right, and even it looked like he was blown out of the ship, because I have that in my notes. Like, oh, he's blown from the ship, landing in the water somewhere. I don't know if they actually showed that. I thought I saw him like leave the ship.
Yeah, I think like we're kind of. I mean, we know he's a main character, so we're kind of equipped to believe that sort of thing is happening. I believe that the trivia that I have, and we'll just loop this in, is where is it? So literally they have the minute marker, like the time that this happens. So at 14 minutes and 38 seconds in the episode, when Zuko's ship explodes, you can quickly see that he actually makes a fire dome or sphere surrounding his body, and that is what shielded him from the blast.
That's so cool. I didn't notice that. I just saw I saw him in the blast.
Yeah.
And that makes a whole lot of sense, because he saw the parrot. So like he saw the parrot,
enough time to prepare,
and he had enough time to prepare to protect himself in that way. Because we do see Iroh show up and talk to Zhao. They're sipping tea. Iroh says, I know who it was, and the Fire Lord is not going to be happy. And
right.
Zhao's
like, what is Zhao's like thinking at this point? Because you got to figure if Iroh does know, is Zhao willing to have just killed the Fire Lord's son? As much as Ozai does not like his son, he's still his lineage at this point.
Right. I mean, like he was banished, not killed.
Right.
And so, but then, Iroh, who he makes it very clear. It's like, oh, it was the pirates, and Zhao, little sigh of relief, I think. And, they talk about, how Iroh's now joining Zhao to serve on this trip to the Northern Water Tribe. But again, at this, I mean, I don't know, a show for kids, so maybe the kids don't catch it, but Iroh is such a smart person that instantly Zuko's alive. If you had any doubts before this,
right?
And that there's a double cross going on right now that Zhao, I don't think Zhao knows about. I think
double cross.
Yeah, I think Zhao is dumb enough to not know what's going on,
or arrogant enough maybe not to care.
True. But then the episode, well, it doesn't end on this, but the last part we see with Iroh really is that we see Zuko stowed away. Iroh said, I wasn't going to let you stow away without my help, because he is a loving uncle first and foremost. God damn it, I love that. And I don't care. I'll say here, I don't care that they're Fire Nation. A loving uncle is great. Okay,
right, that is like your persona is.
It really is.
Nephew and uncle is a big character.
Yeah, it really is. And so maybe that's one of the reasons why I really like Zuko and Iroh, and that I'm really, really hoping that they like pull to redeem themselves at the end here. But
yeah, you're hoping for a Luke, not an Anakin.
Right. But yeah, I mean that probably makes sense. It took me 18 episodes to realize why I love that relationship so much. But yeah, so we see that. So we know for sure Zuko's alive. We know for sure that Iroh's helping him. We know for sure that, at least from this point of view, it looks like that Iroh and Zuko are double crossing Zhao, or double crossing, as you said.
Right, because at this point, like, is it really double crossing if he tried to kill you? Like,
Right.
you're gunning for revenge. But at the
Right.
same time, like, they are heading towards what's ultimately been Zuko's target. So, like,
Yeah.
what do you focus on? Maybe that's a big part of these last 2 episodes.
Yeah, it will be really interesting to see like how this plays out, because obviously there's going to be a big battle at the Water Tribe, between the Water Tribe and the gang and the Fire Nation led by Zhao. But clearly, Zuko and Iroh are going to be going a little rogue from the Fire Nation, and I would imagine that with Iroh on the ship now, he's also talking to Zuko's crew, who, despite the fact that they left, because they're not dumb, they're not going to get killed by Zhao. They like understand from a few episodes ago Zuko's motivation now.
Right.
And so I think that crew is loyal to Zuko and not Zhao. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's going to be Uncle and Zuko by themselves. I think that they're going to have a crew with them. So it will be really interesting to see how that, what will ultimately be a triple threat play out, even though two of the sides are technically on the same side.
Yeah, they're aligned, but how tightly because of what just happened.
Mm-hmm. And this may be, there's having talked about it for nearly 55 minutes now, this may be the best episode of book one.
Of Avatar, The Last Airbender, that you've seen thus far?
Yes, yeah, because
you figure based on the amount of time that we've spent.
Right. I mean, we talked so long about it, but not even moving away from that. There's just so much that happens. And like for basic, I mean, the gang have completed their mission for this story arc. They got to the North Pole. But clearly, with 2 episodes left, there's a lot more to do. I mean, Aang still has to master waterbending. And like, we don't know how far Zhao and that fleet are from the Northern Water Tribe and how long it's going to take them to get there. So like, I expect some sort of like time jump, whether it's, it could be 2 days. Like the beginning of this episode was a 2-day time jump from the previous episode.
Yeah. So I do have a question for you.
Yes.
2 questions, actually. So where does it fall on your rating scale? Like on a 1 to 10?
Oh, this is, I mean, God, this is so close to a 10.
And then in your top 5, where does it sit?
I would need to sit down and like relook at all these episodes,
but I would assume it is in your top 5, right?
Yeah, for sure. Because this is, I would say, and I'm trying not to let the culture thing like to alter my
color your judgment.
Yeah, because I get it. It's a culture thing. But I would say I would give it a 9.5. I don't know that I can give it a 10.
It is a sub 9 episode as
really?
far as IMDb is concerned.
Really, it's so good.
Yep,
it is so good. And there's just so much. There's so much going on.
I like that being a part of this podcast going forward, is figuring out where it sits for you and then comparing it to what other people thought.
I think I'll always be higher. I'm very, very forgiving of entertainment, so I will likely always love it more than the general public. But yeah, I mean, and in my top 5, I have to assume there's an episode that I liked more. But I would venture to say this is probably top 3 territory. Though it might be my highest rated episode.
There we go.
Because, something can be really, really good, but I might like something else better.
Right. I think the fact that we have been talking about this with very little like outside tangents, like we didn't talk about air conditioners or voice actors or anything. Almost 59 minutes. We're going to go over an hour based on what we're going to talk about as we wrap the show up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it shows you, and this is for a single episode. Like our 2-parter episode, I don't even think lasted. Maybe it did go over an hour, but yeah, like this is for a very good episode, and push the story to where it needs to be and conclude for this season.
Right.
So I'm very excited to see how it wraps up. That being said, while we probably will let you know what's going on next week for the future of this show, next week will probably be what we consider our season finale, because it will be a 2-parter that we record as one episode for the episodes 19 and 20 of book 1 here.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty nice send off for the first season of this podcast. It's been a lot of fun, but we'll talk about what comes next week.
Yes.
And
there will definitely
I'm
be,
sure, to talk about after 44 minutes of Avatar.
Yeah. And there will definitely be bonus episodes for season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Very specifically, I know M. Night Shyamalan's movie will be a bonus episode. We'll count that as a season 1 episode, but that will be, obviously
that's going to be our Christmas episode.
Oh man,
I don't know if it's going to hit on Christmas, but
it's a shame that there's not more of them, so that we could do like an Avatar movie episode after every season of the first series here.
You might be very happy for it.
That said, is there any more trivia that you would like to?
Nah, I've been doing a pretty good job of looping them in, especially I'm glad that we did it this episode because it's been so long.
Yeah, this was a long one. Well, with that said, the run's not over yet, but we are officially in the final countdown. 44 minutes left, 2 episodes that are really going to be treated as one episode here. And to see the culmination of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Book 1, The Book of Water, which I know is not what it's called, but it has a nice ring to it. And for Avatar State Radio, I am Kevin Gallagher. You can find me at That Nerdy Kev on most social media, thatnerdykev.com. I also host a podcast called Everything is Awesome. You can find that at awesomepodcast.com. Mike?
Just check me out on tellus.com or twitch.tv/thattellusguy.
For Avatar State Radio, I almost said for Avatar: The Last Airbender again. But for Avatar State Radio, we'll catch you next time right here on avatarstateradio.com.